Good afternoon. My name is Morgan Perez, and I will be teaching 1 John chapter 3, verses 16 through 18. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. And before I go further into this message, I would like to share with you an old Hebrew phrase known as Kiddush Hashem, which translates into sanctify the name. It's mostly used of Jewish martyrs who laid down their lives for God. And in rabbinic thought, a person could sacrifice their life if they were in a situation where they might commit sin. But the image in 1 John of Jesus isn't him laying down his life to avoid an act of sin, but as to commit an act of divine love. Now let me break down verse 16. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. Jesus Christ, who is the Son of God, didn't come down here for just a specific or certain group of people. He came for everyone, no matter their wealth status, race, gender. He came for everybody, and that's what we need to realize. Jesus Christ laid down his life for everyone, and we need to simply just do the same for them, whether it be through lending a hand, talking with them, genuinely caring, not just saying I care, but genuinely heartfelt caring. Verse 17. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? Oftentimes it doesn't, times haven't changed so much from biblical times to present day. If we see somebody with a lot of wealth and they're not showing love or compassion, we often think, where is that love of God? How can that love of God be in that person if they claim to have love for God or to be a Christian in fact? And this verse right here in particular does not downplay or talk negatively about having possessions. It's about having those possessions and not caring for your brother or sister. In fact, we need to show compassion. If we are in good times and we're able to be prosperous ourselves, that doesn't necessarily mean our brother or sister is. And we need to act on that and show pity, show compassion whenever there's people that aren't as fortunate as us, because times change. I can be fortunate today and not fortunate tomorrow, and vice versa for my brother or sister in need. Verse 18. Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. Oftentimes, words can lose meaning without action. And words like I love you, I'll pray for you, I care for you, I'm thinking about you. If we aren't acting on those in general, people will be like, he doesn't really care. They don't really care at all. And our actions need to speak louder than words. And it's preached a lot of times in the body. Christ needs to realize that as a whole, that we need to act instead of just talking. It's easy to talk, but the real nitty and gritty comes from acting. Now let us jump to John 3:16 and 17. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Oftentimes these verses, a lot of people don't seem to grasp the whole concept that Jesus was sent down not to to save us, not to condemn us, not to send us to hell, but to love us, show us love for our brothers, teach us how to love. And when we understand that concept, understand that idea, understand that sacrifice, we can understand truly the sacrifice that Jesus made for us. He asked us, he sat on the right hand of God, and he sacrificed everything. He gave selflessly, and Jesus asks us to do the same thing. And he teaches us to do that through laying down our life for him And whenever we do that by genuinely caring, not just saying I care, or going through the motions, but taking our time out of the day to pray, to talk, to go simply, maybe buy groceries for somebody, take time out of our day to go and communicate our need and our love for that person. That is the image and message that is portrayed in 1 John 3:16 through 18. It's love, the act of divine love, and it's through just loving others more than ourselves, loving others more than our possessions, loving others even though they might have a grudge against us. In all reality, there is nobody that should be held higher or lower than a group of people. We all need to love one another, the strangers and the family and friends. Again, my name is Morgan Perez, and this has been a teaching on 1 John chapter 3, verses 16 through 18. Have a good night.